友是一个千山古拔的纪录片，在香港这座城市的设置。
电视速度并且速度进行着，我也希望，所以现在是。
You know what? You can never find a audio of any opera tenor struggling to hit a B flat 4, say. But with Freddie Mercury, you can find over 100 examples of him struggling to hit a B flat 4. If you go into bootlegs, that is, and not the disgustingly edited official Queen recordings. Also, can you get a cease and desist by Freddie Mercury? I hope not. I, not being right in the head, did this little study of listening to 200 live versions of Bohemian Rhapsody, and I could verify, and I'll share the study, I'll leave the link in the description for you, that Freddie Mercury was constantly struggling whenever he was not at his peak form to go over any notes over the passage of the male register, right? The passaggio in Italian or whatever, which is a telltale sign of a singer pushing their M1 laryngeal mechanism, as you can see with his neck veins popping out. And yeah, their vocal range is always going to depend on their state for the day, basically. Once you realize this, you instantly identify singers with classical technique like Serge Tankian or Marc Martel. Because they're always hitting the freaking high notes like it's easy for them. I don't like Adam Lambert, but even he has classical technique, and a G4 that Freddie Mercury had to struggle for him is actually like a low note somehow. And he's not just saying like, oh, he was a baritone, like Freddie was a baritone and Adam is a tenor. There's barely any difference actually in the variation of the vocal ranges between female and male subjects according to science. For M1 and M2, the laryngeal mechanisms you can use for singing. So how about baritone and tenor? How much do you think actually it's varying? Plus, I mean, the whole point that everyone makes for Marc Martel is that he sounds like Freddie Mercury. So how can you be saying like, oh, I mean, maybe he's able to go 8 semitones higher when live because he's a higher tenor, when the definition tenor and baritone is actually referring to the timbre of the voice. So if they're actually similar, that's not a good explanation at all. It has to be something else, and it is. Like I said on the beginning, you couldn't possibly find an operatic singer struggling one day for the high notes and then just one other day nailing every single one of them. You can't find a bad day for Marc Martel, except he has a cold or something, of course. And same thing for any other singer with classical technique. In fact, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because opera singers can actually be insanely freaking loud, potentially louder than Freddie Mercury, of course, according to the opera singers I've heard, because they're pushing just insane amounts of air, right, through their belly, through their diaphragm or whatever, while Freddie Mercury was pushing here in live performances. Of course, maybe not on the studio, he had excellent technique, but the facts are the facts, and the science is the science, or whatever. I can't lie to you guys, okay? How interesting is that they can be insanely loud, way louder than Freddie Mercury, while doing zero effort, right? Because it's all about air. They're switching, basically, their laryngeal mechanism to one that engages a lot of air usage, right? M2. How confusing is it intuitively for someone who has never researched any of this or had the luck maybe to see it, to know that without doing effort, you can actually be louder. Isn't that paradoxical for everyone who assumes, like I did for so many years, that just to go higher and connected in your chest voice, you have to be stronger or something? Bruh. It seems counterintuitive, but it's basically mostly because they've done such a mess of singing techniques and vocal coaching or whatever. So they're switching, they're using mixed voice. It's just classical technique. I mean, when I say I'm teaching mixed voice or whatever, at crazysinger.com, never fails, taught over 200 whatever, is actually just classical technique rebranded, you could say, because you can use it for rock perfectly, like Mark Martel is doing it, and you'll get the superpower of being 100% consistent, basically, and the potential superpower of being insanely loud without any type of effort. It's always going to be the same foundation of a falsetto, a Mickey Mousey falsetto, like. And you can add distortion, you can lower your thing here, do the lip inside the mouth thing like Mark Martel. You can do so many modifications to sound like you want to sound, but the foundation will be always Mickey Mouse, basically. That's why you become so consistent. Yeah, if you ever find a classical technique singer, like I had the luck to, just tell them to make their notes arise from falsetto, and then think that science found that laryngeal mechanisms cannot be mixed or anything. So if the note is arising in falsetto, it has to be falsetto at its core, and then just use that into your own singing, and it will change your life. Or just go to crazysinging.com and do it like, you know? I'm gonna raise the price, baby. So see you there.